Elizabeth Warren has a new plan to impose a new wealth tax on U.S. citizens. And if you're an aspiring nomad capitalist, you're probably not going to like it. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and it was only a matter of time before this happened. You see, for a long time, the United States has becoming more and more progressive. Conversations of wealth inequality have come into the discussion. People are talking about how the rich are the root of all evil, how they need to be taxed more. Mitt Romney ran for president. They complained that he paid under a different tax code than the average person, even though he paid millions of dollars a year, more than the average person. It just wasn't enough for them. And so even under Donald Trump, this America First tax policy, if you want to be an expat, if you want to be a global investor, if you want to think beyond the United States, it's just becoming a less interesting place to be. And so now Elizabeth Warren is saying, let's have a wealth tax. She came out with a proposal that said, if you have $50 million or more, we're going to start dinging you a couple percent every year. If you have $1 billion or more, we're going to add an extra 1% to that. And we're going to have an annual wealth tax where we say, pay us a percentage of the money you have. It doesn't matter how much money you earn. It doesn't matter how much, what's happening with that money. You have money and we're going to take it. It's totally turning the system of income tax on its head. Now, here's what's scary. When the income tax was introduced just over 100 years ago, it was also a couple of a percent. But then what happens? Things start creeping up. They creep up some more. And now you have a top income tax rate of 37%. In states like California, it's 12 or 13% at the top. You have city income taxes in places like New York City. You have Social Security, you have Medicare, you have all kinds of taxes to where if you are a high 6 or 7 figure business owner, you're probably paying close to half, if not half, of your income in taxes. You're basically have a business partner, 50-50 business partnership with the government, except you do all the work and they sit on a hammock. And so now that system, which is taken off over just 100 years, now that's not enough for them. I remember when I lived in the United States in Arizona, it seemed like every year, every other year, there was a new ballot proposition at the election time, when it was, hey, let's raise taxes on cigarettes by an extra $1. That's always the low-hanging fruit, right? Let's raise taxes on cigarettes because the children need it. There's always a good reason, and it's always on a group that is in the minority. Smokers now are a minority, so even if every smoker went to the polls, which many smokers do not because they are often now in lower socioeconomic categories, but even if every smoker went to the polls, the non-smokers who theoretically have children whose kids or who goes to school and who they want the free extra benefits for, they're going to vote for their own best interests. And so now you have a situation where you have wealthy people who the politicians on the progressive side always point out, oh, it's only going to affect the top 0, or 0.1%. It's a very small portion. It only affects, 77,000 people. But for those 77,000 people, it's a very important thing. The problem is, if you're one of those 77,000 people, everyone else is against you. They'd love to take your money because they're angry. They're angry that you've accomplished something. They're angry that you built a business, angry that you sold a business, angry that you became successful as an investor, and they want theirs. They see the fact that the world has become more competitive, that people like me can go and hire higher quality workers in a country like Serbia for a lower price than what I pay for entitled US citizens. And they don't like that. They say, how dare Andrew profits off of moving his workforce overseas? How come Andrew gets to live overseas and not pay into our system? We need his money, and they need your money too. And so now Elizabeth Warren is coming in to help them. $50 million is just the start. 2 or 3% is just the start. Those numbers will come down on the entry level, and the percentages will go up over time if this kind of thing is passed. The challenge is the appetite in countries like the United States is to have more things like this because people are angry. They don't like the fact that the world is changing. Neither side does. Steve Bannon said that in the last 20 years, the American workforce moved overseas and Asia built a middle class, as if Asia is not entitled to build a middle class. The challenge in today's society is how do you adapt to a global world? Everyone enjoys having access to a world of information at their fingertips, iPhones, products, all kinds of things sold at low prices. They love the benefits of globalization. But if you've profited from it, they don't like you and they're coming to take your stuff. Elizabeth Warren also said, hey, if you have more than 50 million bucks and you're a subject of my new wealth tax, we're going to make it really difficult and really financially painful for you to renounce your U.S. citizenship. So what this means to me is this. We've seen this writing on the wall for a long time, and I don't like to do the doom and gloom. I don't like to be the spy novelist who goes around writing about how the world is coming to an end and how you need to protect your money. But now I'm going to level with you. This is a time when you have to look and say, where's the direction of my country going? What is going to happen in the next 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? I'm not saying to panic. I'm not saying to do stuff that you don't really want to do. But if you think this is an issue, then now would be the time to start setting up those offshore bank accounts, getting some money out of the country, starting to move at least part of your business overseas, getting that second residence, a place you can live, and more importantly, if you're a U.S. citizen, getting that second passport that you have in your back pocket. The last thing that you want to do if you think this is going to be an issue is to be left holding the bag when the new law comes down. I've seen that happen before. I've seen people, when new laws come out, they thought it would never happen. And when it did happen, they were scrambling to take the action that they should have taken 6 months or a year or 5 years earlier. If you're concerned about things like a wealth tax, and you're concerned that the $50 million may eventually become $10 or even $5 million as people's appetite for taking your money becomes greater, then now is the time to prepare yourself before all of these things come into effect.
I'm Andrew Henderson, and if you're looking for a way to legally reduce your taxes, build your freedom, and create wealth faster as a global citizen, then you've come to the right place. I want you to do 3 things right now. Number 1, click the button to subscribe to our channel. Make sure to get notifications so you never miss a new video. Number 2, get a copy of our #1 best-selling book, Nomad Capitalist, on Amazon and learn all of the dozens of benefits of our lifestyle. And number 3, if you're already a 6- or 7-figure entrepreneur and you want to put these strategies in place, go to nomadcapitalist.com and find out how to get some help.